The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Something a little different tonight. It's going to be plenty of international football talk, along with a mix of Newcastle United. I am back. I'm Chris. Hi, everybody. And Mark's here.
Hi, Chris.
Decker's here.
Hi, Chris.
Where's Bestie been? Did he tell? Has he been?
Well, he went
to Denmark.
Did he not go to Poland or Denmark or somewhere? But now he's in Wales.
We just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah,
Is he got his own little global tour?
he's trying to file Bay.
I'm assuming he's gone to
Taking
to
countries off the
Wales.
list.
It's not there.
Not
It's
in
not
Wales.
there.
Not in Denmark.
It must have something to do with his in-laws
Yeah.
are from down there, aren't they? So maybe
Oh,
there's
right,
been
right.
some sort of event. So he's gone down to there. Then they've gone
To Denmark.
to get some bacon or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But yeah, any questions that anybody does have, send them our way. As always, we'll go through as many as possible throughout the next hour or so. It isn't a Newcastle United victory this weekend. We'll have to stay patient for that one. But Decker's still got some words for everybody. Decker, take it away.
It's coming home, you know. Get in there, man.
Proper premature, as always.
It's as I say, it's not like you to get carried
Oh,
away after
mate.
a little victory, is it?
The second, when the first goal went in, I had to win this, like win the whole thing. We're the best, man.
Just to give people a heads up, there will be an audio podcast going out which does focus on the Newcastle players that did feature today in the England game. Both Trippier and Callum Wilson played a part in that one, but we'll talk about those throughout the show as well.
And a third that maybe should have played, but we'll get on to that.
All right, well, we'll get on to that as well.
I think I know where you're going.
I want to start off because in the Telegram group, I mentioned the other day that it just doesn't feel right. So this was yesterday morning. I woke up and I was like, normally World Cup buzz, you get it a few days beforehand. Then obviously it hits you the day of the tournament when it's starting. Then you get the opening ceremony, you get the first game of the tournament as well, and you feel that buzz. Obviously, it's helped by everybody's attitude is normally better in the summer. I would probably argue as well. Everybody's a bit happier in the summer when the sun's shining. And it just felt a bit strange yesterday. But as soon as that ball was kicked from kickoff in the last night's game, bring it on.
I think it's
I fell back
because
into the trap.
I think it's because in the summer you've got to the end of the season and you have that little bit of a break, don't you? And it's like you don't want football to be over. So when it then comes back around in the start in either the Euros or the World Cup, it's like, oh great, we've got some football back. Because otherwise during the summer you just sat twiddling your fingers waiting for it to start up again. So it's nice for that to happen. Whereas this time round, we don't want the football to stop because we're enjoying it, we're playing well, and
Because Newcastle are mint.
that's
at
it.
the moment.
So it's
And we used to crave an international break just so we didn't lose.
that's it. Yeah,
Back in the day.
you wanted that as a bit of a distraction, whereas it's coming as a distraction when we probably don't need it. But yes, I was like you, Chris. Like not like I didn't really feel into it and stuff like that. But then I was a bit disappointed with because you didn't really see a lot of the opening ceremony.
It was on the
There was a lot of it skipped, which was, I know obviously BBC were focusing on their message and stuff like that around the tournament, which was very nicely handled. But I would have liked to have seen more of that, like of the ceremony itself, and because that helps build the excitement.
It was available. It was on the iPlayer. I don't think it was advertised as much as what it could have been, but it was available on the iPlayer and the red button.
But you always get live, don't you? It's normally there. They do
Some
a big
build up.
opening ceremony
Always.
program. So
Always.
I just found it a bit unusual.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about. A lot of unusual things happening with this World Cup.
Decker, thoughts going into the tournament?
Pretty much the same. I had no real no excitement at all, if I'm being honest. I actually didn't see much of yesterday because I was out with the family or out all day, really. Then by the time I got back, I'd missed most of it. But even him saying that, the game itself didn't inspire us to want to sit down and watch it anyway, if I'm being really honest. I just feel there's been an awful lot of noise, hasn't there, around this one, which I think is, I'm not saying it's wrong noise. I just mean that I think that it's not as happy and go lucky that a World Cup normally is. And I definitely think in the winter it's not as good because I kind of sit outside and drink, or, there's not that, you know what I mean? It's just not that sort of feeling, is it? It's just so different. But having said everything I've just said, 12 o'clock came and I had BBC on and the build-up was happening and I was like, okay, here we go. And Shearer was on there obviously talking about it, seeing the team news and stuff. And then I was into it, like, I really was. And I was really happy actually come full time, if I'm honest. And I was full swing, dick out, was coming home the whole week. So it was great.
Let's just dive straight into the England game itself. I was shocked by that performance, Mark. Really shocked.
We don't normally start that positively, do we? And I know people are pointing to the fact it was only Iran, which is
ranked
true.
29th in the world.
They are. But apparently, I'm sure they're the current Asian champions, which doesn't bode well for the rest of the Asian countries that are through there. But you can only beat what's in front of you. But as I say, we normally start off pretty slowly, but we look up. And again, whether it's coming with it being in the middle of the season, players aren't as tired and have played so long, and maybe that's impacted a little bit. But we definitely we went about it. And at times it was like watching Newcastle, the way we were attacking and knocking the ball around and stuff, which is mad to say. On
the build up to the game, Shearer and Rio Ferdinand, I think it was, actually said that the hope we don't get one goal, then just sit back like we have done in previous tournaments. We've done it in the Euros, the Euro final. We went 1-0 up, then that was it, really.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't do that.
No, it was obviously what Mark's saying there. I mean, obviously sometimes we've seen England before play poor opposition and struggle, and get frustrated and go, God, this is shite. You know what I mean? We've said it so many times. But I thought, I was really pleased there was 4 at the back. Now, that might be a forced change because of the lack of personnel we don't have, basically. But anyway, 4 at the back meant that we had more midfield, which meant, in my opinion, it's more attacking-minded. It's more aggressive. So I was a fan of that. And I thought we played absolutely brilliant. I mean, am I right in thinking we hadn't won in 6 games? We had 4 draws in there or something as well. And we haven't went in there with very good form. So you could have quite easily scraped over the line 1-0 and go, same old England boring. But that was really entertaining today. They played some wonderful football on the front foot for the majority. Yes, they were disappointed by the goals they conceded, which we'll come on to, but I really enjoyed it. They played some great football. There were some outstanding individual performances, which we'll come on to as well. So, yeah, really, really positive. Great first game.
One of the things I wanted to start on, because this happens before any goals are scored, is the concussion injury to the goalkeeper, to Iran's goalkeeper. This is something which has been heavily mentioned the last few weeks. I can't remember what game it was. Was it one of our games where the keeper went down for ages?
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Which game was that? Was it at St. James's Park? But I can't remember who. Was it Villa?
It was Villa.
Yeah.
It was Villa.
Keeper goes down in that Villa game. Then obviously it comes out afterwards that maybe there should be a rule in place which says that the player's got no say in this whatsoever, whether or not he stays on the field. Looking at that today and the collision of both players, they absolutely smash into each other. The goalkeeper's face is pissing the blood. You can tell he's not there. You can tell his eyes are rolling. It's basically like a referee in a boxing fight would have. Yeah, you call that the day straight away.
It was a terrible injury, like collision. Like the collision was horrible. It got worse every time I watched it.
You've got to say though, the keeper makes a bloody good save. Like in that collision, like just to get these fingertips.
Bless
on
him,
it.
He's got a big nose, hasn't he?
He's got an even bigger nose now. Yeah,
bless him. Near one night, I think out's going to hit that. Like, but Christ,
like when there's a photograph of them, obviously, of them clashing. And it's like that old Andy O'Brien photo where he's getting the ball in his face, where it's just everything's just squashed in, and
fucking must have killed that.
It just it wasn't nice, but like you say, that's where it, and this is what's meant to happen is the referee will look at it, and you've got to look at the medical staff that come onto the pitch, and they're the ones that have got to look at that player and say, is he in any fit state to carry on?
So, well, I felt that happened, but I felt that them were going, he's all right. And
Well,
they're almost
that's
egging
what I
him
mean.
on to get up. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
way away.
I have two issues with this.
Even the manager.
Well, the first one
Cost
is the Iranian captain is basically the one that looks like he comes over and he's telling the keeper that he's staying on. He starts splashing water on him like he's performing an exorcism.
Horrendous,
At one
that, by
point.
the way. Just fucking get
Like
on.
holy water off his
Yeah,
face.
that was awful.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it
and
was.
the other thing which I don't agree with, it's the club's doctors making this decision. They don't want one of their better players going off the field. Surely there should be an impartial doctor that
There is.
assesses them.
There's
Is
one in
there?
the stand. Yeah.
So surely, like I keep referring like to boxing there, but boxing will have an impartial doctor that'll assess, then make a decision on the back
Yeah.
of that. But you don't need a medical professional to see
You could see it.
that he was absolutely away.
As a player in a World Cup finals, you're not going to want to come off the pitch, and that's where that decision needs to be taken out of your hands.
It does, yeah.
Yes, you can say I'm fine, I feel good, whatever. But if the person looking at you can say, "Hold on, there's not something right," then that decision needs to be taken away from the player.
We saw this work once at St James's Park. What should happen, and it was when Mitrovic
Aye.
against Sunderland, he was begging to go back on that field,
Yeah.
and the club doctors and Rafa were like, "There's no chance you're going back on that field there,"
Yeah.
because he was all over the shop as well.
Mm.
And that's the last bit of encouragement Mitrovic needs when he's already an
Yeah.
absolute loose wire.
Yeah. Obviously, there's the game's moved on, hasn't it? You know, a hell of a lot. Because in the olden days, we just get on with it, like just crack on. And them protocols have been brought in incorrectly as well. So I was stunned. Well, I was shocked in a few ways. I was shocked at how long it was taking. And no offense to the lad, I knew it was a bad one. The keeper was ready quite early on to come on, the sub goalkeeper. Yeah. And you knew that. Well, first of all, I was shocked to shoot on sight, you know, because he's getting back up to play and go shoot immediately because he kind of seen out, you know what I mean? And then within seconds, wasn't it? He just fell.
I was
over,
worried
you know.
when he went to take that goal kick because I thought the defender was going to take it first.
Yeah,
because around.
yeah.
Then he takes it. I'm thinking he might go over straight away here just after kicking this, but it takes a few seconds later. If that, then he drops at the ground, immediately asking for a substitution.
Which is good. He's saw sense at that point. He's obviously tried to carry on and realised he can't, and then that's where the decision's
I
made
think
to
it'll be
take him off.
a combination of not just concuss. I think the actual pain he'd be in. I honestly think he'd be like,
was in bits.
he'd be like, I don't know, I'm in agony here. Like, do you know what I mean? It might not necessarily just be concussion. Why?
Years must have been a ring.
Oh, horrendous, man! It must have been awful. It's like running into a wall, basically, the way they meet. It was because at first when it happened, I was like, "Oh, yeah, like what's happening here?" And then when I seen the replay out loud, I went, "Oh, God." Like,
Well, so they kept playing it over and over
Yeah,
again as
yeah.
well, didn't they? Which
What do you
which
think
isn't-
about Shearer's opinion on this one? So Shearer's saying that you should have a temporary substitute where they come on until a player is assessed by a doctor. Then, if everything's fine, that player can go back on.
I think to help the speed of the game, yes, it's a really good decision. To be fair, because it's all about. They always say it's about entertainment, isn't it? It's about value for money and all this type of stuff. So for me, more game time or keeping the game flowing is for the better. And I think that's a really good idea actually to have a substitution that can.
Would that be used just for goalkeeper only, or anywhere on the field?
I'd say anyway.
Yeah,
I would
if it's
say
if it's a concussion injury,
Yeah.
you can't in seconds get over it because you need to see what's going on. Have you got any effects from it? So
In NFL, it happens all the time. So they'll go in a concussion protocol. They'll hire a tent over them. A player will come on and replace them, and then they'll come out the tent and go, "I'm all right." And then he just goes back. It's fine.
Yeah.
No substitution caused or anything. But just keeps it
You
doing
know
it.
this, Nick. I can't remember who I was speaking to the other day, but if you are ruled off the field in NFL for concussion, then obviously it proves afterwards like you have been concussed. How many days do they miss? Is it 10?
Yes, they've got it. They do like 3 examinations across the week.
So could that be like a couple of games within that?
No, normally one.
Normally
one, yeah. So they always miss one game. It's only ever happened recently once where a player did come back early, and I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but he got hit in the head again, and his hands all cramped up. There was big problems. So, but yes, they've got to pass certain stages, but normally because of the timing of them sessions, they normally miss one game.
Because it's a lot of thing where it's mentioned in the likes of college football, isn't it? Where players, obviously the scouts are coming, but obviously they're worried they're going to miss the scouts because the
Of course. Yeah.
Well, that was something that was mentioned again because if they follow the rules, he'll not play another game during these group stages. So again, that's another reason why he's going to be reluctant to.
As I would
to
be,
go
as
off
all
and
we would be. You're representing your country, and it's a fucking first minute. Almost felt like them. Yeah.
So saying that though, Harry Maguire went off.
Yeah.
We're led to believe that was concussion as well.
Well, that was.
Does he miss? the next X amount of games?
Yeah, well, he could do it, but I don't know.
Or it all depends what the doctor say afterwards, surely, won't it?
It will. Because again, I mean, I don't mean this off. Listen, that goalkeeper might be concussed, but I still think he's broke his nose and he's in a hell of a lot of pain. Whereas I feel Maguire's, he is physically saying, "Listen, I'm knocked dizzy here." Like now, I could be wrong here. I didn't catch much of the end of the game. I mean, the talking at the end of the game, but was there a collision with Maguire? Like, did something happen to him? Did we actually see a collision of heads or something?
I think it's just more.
Was he just feeling dizzy?
Yeah, I think it's
or?
more of a.
He's tweeted afterwards saying that he felt ill.
Aye.
Second half.
I was wondering if it
Like
was the
sick,
temperature or
yeah.
just something not right with him. That's right.
I think the reason that we got away with making the substitution was because there'd been a concussion substitution.
So Darren said in the comments that Lineker said after the game, Maguire's was more blurred vision rather than a physical collision.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. That's just fair enough.
Shearer wasn't happy in the studio. Alan Shearer's done a lot of things in regards to brain damage from football injuries.
He's done all the documentaries and stuff over that, and the links into
loss of memory and
CTE,
Alzheimer's,
Alzheimer's, all of that kind of thing. So it's something that's close to his heart, and you expect him to have a reaction to it because he has campaigned for a number of years now over head injuries and the effects that it has in later life. We've all seen the results of that with older players, obviously using a lot bigger and heavier balls and stuff like that at the time as well. But all of the research is there to show that there's issues occur when
it's even worse at
doing
that level as well, though, isn't it? Like, it's a World Cup, man. Do you know what I mean? And for them to get it so wrong, I mean, Janus was furious in the commentary, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And rightfully so, by the way. Like, it's just absolutely fuming about the situation. Like, it was taking so long. The goalkeeper's almost saying he's all right. And he's like, come on, like, you need to act here,
So, talking about the goalkeepers and things like that, their second choice goalkeeper, his confidence must have been high. Everybody is absolutely devastated that he's coming on the field, including the manager. Head in hands. He's absolutely gutted.
Yeah.
I think it was more the reaction of losing the number one keeper than who was going on. But saying that we've been in that situation where we've looked at our bench and thought, oh God, here we go.
Yeah. I think before that incident was the penalty, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Maguire
and Stones
within 2 minutes or so, wasn't it?
Yeah. So let's talk about the two. This is going to be all over the place. Anybody that's watching and listening, but the uses of VAR. Okay. So the first one today, obviously there was an incident in the opener, but the first one today during the England-Iran game is the challenge on Harry Maguire. So corner comes in, and it's not necessarily a challenge. It's just a complete wraparound, just a bear hug, and Maguire has got no chance of getting free from that. Him and Stones run straight at the referee.
But Stones is getting held as well.
He falls first. Stones falls.
Yeah,
first.
I thought Stones.
In fairness, Stones giving it back. So
Maguire, he's wrestled to the ground, and the referee waves that away straight away, which is fine. The referee doesn't believe it's a penalty. VAR then look at it, then they decide that that's not a penalty either. If you're looking at these sort of incidents in a box where we're looking at shirt pulling or players not being able to lose a man because of contact, that's a stonewall penalty all day long.
I honestly think the only reason why it wasn't given, and this is not the right decision, can I add here, it was a penalty. End of story. The reason why it wasn't given is it was so damn early in the game.
Yeah.
I honestly feel if that was 40 minutes in or second half, it gets given. I really do. I just think because it was the first 2 minutes, they've went, just keep it in and carry on. It's all wrong, by the way. It's completely wrong. I just feel that's the only reason it wasn't given. Because how can anyone look at that and not think that's a pen?
The referee was letting the lock go early on, like, wasn't he?
He was. I mean, them were dirty, by the way. Christ, they were leaving some late challenges on me. But as you rightfully said, it was a bear hug. Maguire hasn't got any chance of going anywhere. It's a shocker. It's an absolute shocker.
I'm thinking the same. Like, you expect that to be given as a penalty, but does it come too early? Which makes it a difficult decision. But
that doesn't make it a difficult decision.
It's the same decision.
It's the same decision, but for some reason,
no. I mean, it's
just like
it shouldn't be a difficult decision, but it's a difficult decision for them to give it because, as you're saying, it's early in the game. They don't want to set that precedence that early.
You can't actually hook someone.
I don't know. Like and obviously it became even more ridiculous as we go into the second half.
If we flip over to the second use of VAR, It is a penalty to Iran for
No.
it's a shirt pull, but a very minimal shirt pull. He's not necessarily stopping the defender, the striker from moving anywhere whatsoever. And VAR call the referee over to look at the monitor, as we see every single week in the Premier League. As soon as the referee goes to the monitor, the decision is going to be a penalty all day long. How can we look at both those incidents and say VAR is working?
Well,
because it's not.
If you were to put both of those incidents and say it to somebody that hadn't seen them, which one's given us a penalty and which one isn't, there's no way that they're choosing that way around.
Oh,
Because
I totally agree. My mind boggles at how that Maguire one wasn't given. I do not know. Well, just before the game started, didn't they had a picture of the room itself, didn't they? The VAR room, and they had like all them officials.
All 50 of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of them there. And I'm thinking, you're telling me that all of you have thought that wasn't a foul? Like, you need sacked then? Because that's a foul. That's a foul. Now, to be fair, this is just my opinion, but it didn't get given, and obviously people were opening arms, and I was like, it'll be fine, man. We'll beat these anyway. But if that happens in a really, tight game, you're playing Argentina in the semis or something, and that happened, you know what I mean? And that's why you lose faith. And of course, what happened in the second half to give that as a penalty, it's just unbelievable where they get the rules from.
You could have probably ignored it because of the scoreline and obviously what happened after that first use of VAR. But then it just comes full circle when the last kick of the game basically is that penalty decision, and it's
absolutely. And to be fair, what I've said about the Maguire incident, that imagine we're 2-1 up. And that goes against him as 2-2. I mean, fucking hell, it's a joke, man.
It's a nothing. He's got his arm behind him, isn't he? If anything, he's feeling where the striker is.
Yeah.
It's like
feeling me like
because you can't see him, so he's got his arm out to see, just to feel to see, right? Is he close to us? Am I going to be able to win that ball? And
I think that particular incident there, right? If we had a freeze frame every single corner, every single free kick in the game, that happened all the time.
Oh, you'll see much more worse than that.
But it would have happened in every single set piece opportunity. What happened for that penalty being given? That incident would have happened every single time.
Well, in the first half, Maguire in particular, because he hit the crossbar as with the header, didn't he?
I really wish I'd have gone in for him. Actually.
Yeah, he was causing havoc from corners and stuff like that. But you saw that because we were so dominant in the air, that they were having to grab on and be a little bit rough and stuff like that. So there was much worse happening.
Do that though. The defender, if you're the defender, right? Now you've got Maguire to deal with, which is fucking hard.
You're going to make it awkward for him, aren't you?
You are, but what a risk you're taking as a player, though. 2 minutes into the game, I'm just going to hug you and drag you to the floor, no matter what.
That's where the referee needs to step in and get a grip and say, "Look, I've seen what's going on." I mean, how many times have we seen it where there's jostling in the box even before the corner comes in, and the referee will stop play, go and talk to the players and say, look at it.
So,
well, he did it on the next corner where he got, and I was laughing, going, "Why are you telling him
it's too late?" Yeah,
you've said it wasn't a penalty, so what's the fucking problem? Yeah. It's a free for all now, then if that's not a penalty. And the ref was like, hold on.
And that to me is showing that he knows he's made a mistake.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. You can't look at that now and think that's a correct decision. Nobody can.
No.
It's not a single person.
Again, as Deck said, I think it's just because it was so early.
The timing, which is wrong, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, no, I probably agree with you. Yeah, it is wrong, but it happens. We've seen it happen before. We'll see it happen again. But from then on in, England just go and absolutely run wild, dominate from start to finish. That is probably one of the most enjoyable England performances I've seen.
It's the highest win we've ever had in a opening group stage game ever, and I think performance-wise, it's arguably one of the best.
But it was going to be joint World Cup result, wasn't it? Highest World Cup result until the penalty at the end.
Penalty at the end.
Yeah. Which ruled, I'm sure I might be wrong, but I'm sure the commentator said that right at the very end, though. But yeah, Mark, England just impressed.
Yeah, it was. I like when we're open talking about this. It wasn't a typical England performance that we've come to expect, because we almost played fast counter-attacking football, and that they just couldn't cope with it. And we've got good, young, exciting, forward-thinking, attacking players that we just don't utilise. So it was nice to see we're doing that. I thought Bellingham was
fantastic,
absolutely outstanding.
Wales have got a pen
throughout that game, which is nice to see, because it hasn't always worked for him in an England shirt. He hasn't been given a lot of the opportunities. So for him to go in there and put in that performance was brilliant. But the the way we just pile forward. Saka was fantastic as well.
So Bellingham's 19 years old.
Yeah.
The talent that kid has
Madness.
already is remarkable. He is going to be a top talent.
We need to sign him
Oh,
no matter what.
Meridad checkbook out
Honestly,
right now.
well, you know he's not going to stay in Dortmund for very much longer. And Liverpool have been massively linked with him. But for me, you know what it is? Go and get him, lads. Open the book up, get the oil money out and do it.
It's Liverpool, isn't it? Apparently Liverpool are favourites to sign
Well,
him.
we'll buy him.
And anybody that's
Imagine having him in our midfield, man. 19-year-old man.
you can see why
19-year-old.
Birmingham retired his shirt at the age of 16.
That was
Madness,
mental,
like when you think of that, but that was the impact he had on the club at that time. But
He's unreal.
He's a talent. There's no doubt about it.
He can do everything in that midfield.
Mhm.
Everything. The amount of confidence that he has for such a young age, like a lot of players would. He ran back a few times and won the ball back, and you would just play it easy and go, "Mint, I've done well there."
Yeah.
He was winning the ball back, passing it, running forward, wanting the ball again, taking players on. Just it was like a
He's fearless, like isn't
you know, like a Steven Gerrard performance. You know, and Gerrard used to he was a great. I thought Gerrard was excellent. And then performances where he would just be able to grab a game by the scruff of the neck and just basically do everything. I felt that's what I know. Again, people will say, "Well, it's only a ram," but he's 19-year-old starting in the World Cup, and he played like that. And he had a hand in almost everything that we did well. Obviously scored as well, and with a brilliant header. He was just immense, and I kept saying, "Beautiful,
Really
header,
nice,
absolutely beautiful header." He's amazing. Like so, for us to sign him.
So we've mentioned before a marquee signing for Newcastle, and maybe certain players are just beyond that reach at this moment in time. I think he's probably that player.
He's way beyond our reach currently.
Well, I don't think we're that far from being able to do that. I think obviously depending on where we finish at the end of this season has a huge impact on that. But if we're in the same, let's say if we're in the same position as what we are this season, next season, okay, so we're coming up to Christmas. We've got Champions League football.
We need
and
to
are
be able
sat
to offer
fourth.
Champions League football
That's
to
what I
even
mean.
Well, we're going to be in it this year.
think
We're
about
going to finish third or
getting a
fourth
player.
this year. I've said this. We're finishing the Champions League. He's 19, man. He's not 25, 28, needing to win something now. He's 19. So the dream that was sold Bruno, the dream that was sold everybody else, he is 19-year-old. Listen,
He's not coming.
we're going to win the World Cup. I'm telling you, man, we're going to win the World Cup. But anyway,
I think he's just
2
that one,
years,
just
2
that
years ahead of time.
bit-
2
bit
years
too
ahead
out
of
of
time.
reach.
well, I'm Dina Keegan here, and I say, go on, just reach for the start. Go for it. Just do it.
I'll do a Keegan. I'd love it if we'd
Aye.
signed him, but
Sell him the
not a
dream. Say,
chance.
listen, you've got a long career here. We will be that club.
Yeah.
He has £1 billion a week or something. There you go.
if
Take it all.
he would stay where he was for another year, and we can finish up there, get into the Champions League.
Oh, so you think in
solidify
a year's time we could then? 1 year, 12 months?
2 years,
I
I would
think
say.
I think-
18 months,
He'd
2
be gone
years.
by then, man.
I think
That's what I mean.
if we
I think
could
it's
give
too
him-
early. They'll
If
come
we
too
could
early.
give him Champions League football, it could be a possibility.
We need to cement ourselves as a top 6 team. We'll have to do that. We have to be able to offer that level of European football regularly. At this moment in time, it's a pipe dream.
You know, for fine well, he's going to end up somewhere like Liverpool or City, though.
100%.
He is.
Chelsea,
know
Liverpool,
that,
City.
I just
That's where he'll
feel,
be in.
I don't know.
Or Madrid.
I just feel that, imagine if I got him, man. He's the greatest, man. He's unreal. Like, he's absolutely unbelievable. But no, honestly, like, we'll sign him.
Let's focus on one of the Newcastle United players. So Kieran Trippier starts at right back. He has a mixed game, I want to say.
Okay.
Because there were certain parts in that game where I'm thinking he's performed better in a Newcastle shirt. I think there was a lot of passes which were misplaced at times. A lot of overhit balls as well. And I think that's probably because he's used to Almiron running onto those balls. There's a few things like that. But I think as the great game grew, he got a lot better. Obviously, we've seen the stats where he won the most tackles out of any England player, won the most aerial duels out of most England players. He was also highest on stats that go the opposite as way. So he lost possession most out of the England team as well. Obviously, as a defender, he's going to be higher up there because he's the one passing from the back forward, unlike Kane, where it's going to be coming back over easier balls. But I thought you had a half decent game.
Yeah, like you kind of look at that performance and think he hasn't had a good game. Yes, there's some stats that that don't look too favourable. But you can put that down to the other players on the team not being close to him and not understanding where he's going to be playing the ball and that kind of stuff.
I thought he played really well. Honestly, really well. I thought there was a couple of times I was like, I know what you're referencing. There was a few balls down the line where had a lot of time, and Saka was making a run, and the ball was massively overhitting that end.
But that's just a lack of understanding.
Yeah, but I seen them against Chelsea at home. I was sitting that end, and Trippier twice, passed it too far. But that happens in football. It's just the way it is, right? You're gonna give the ball away. He was bombing down that right hand side at every given opportunity, as was Shaw, by the way. So the fullbacks I loved in the full game. I thought Trippier was really, really good. I thought certainly the early doors in the game, some of the passes he made just to keep possession and calm things down were just class, real class. I thought he was really good.
Corners, we all know what he can do from a dead ball. His corners were excellent.
That was a great one. I thought he was really, really good. I thought he was excellent.
Anything else?
Yeah, as I say, it wasn't an outstanding performance that you could think, God, he was brilliant. But I don't think
didn't play as good as Bellingham.
I don't think he did anything wrong. Yes, there may have been a couple of passes gone astray, but that's just from, as I say, a lack of playing with the others that he was.
He won every
big moment.
Like the 50-50 chat, when that guy was coming, that wasn't often, but I forgot his name, sorry, but he was winning it off him every time. He won a lot of aerial headers as well, I thought, for the side.
I think it was.
He won a lot. Now, of course, there'll be bigger tests to come, in different games, but I thought in that game, again, it's the first game in the tournament, and for me, if that's your first game and you can build from that, then what a great, not just, I'm talking the team there, but also for Trippier, it was a great start.
No, I agree with that. I think from, like I said, and Mark said there, Trippier's performance was far from bad. It really was. Like I said, it was excellent.
I actually thought it was really good.
It was nice to see him getting the armband for a little while as well.
Yeah.
It's
he
captain in England in the World Cup is nice.
In the second half, he had a free kick, and I was thinking, we're at the keeper.
Hit the wall with the free kick. One of the things, obviously, Trippier is involved in is he goes down, and there's it's not a stamp on his foot, but a player stands on the top of his foot there, and I'm thinking, oh, nah. And this is going to happen a lot in this tournament where
Winston every time,
there's a few representations of Newcastle in the World Cup. So you've got Trippier, Wilson, Pope for England. You've got Bruno for Brazil. You've got Fabian Shaw for Switzerland. Sorry,
I think we'll see it a lot with Bruno.
Yeah,
holding on to the ball and getting whacked and rolling around and that. You'll see it and you'll be like, "Oh my God, is he all right?" type of thing. It's going to happen, isn't it? No doubt about it. But it was really nice to see Trippier on there from the start as well. I think you got someone representing us, if you like, our club. So it was fantastic.
It's just strange sharing Newcastle in a sentence in a World Cup game.
And it was mentioned a lot. To be fair, there's a lot of times he was mentioned, and obviously, of course, when Wilson came on later on,
eventually,
again, our name's getting mentioned a lot, which is great.
Yeah. Let's just move straight on to Wilson. So we saw Wilson, the team player. If Wilson is in that position in a Newcastle shirt, he hits for goal there.
Oh, I don't know.
He does.
I don't know, because he's
depending
on the situation, he can be very, very selfish or very unselfish. And I thought that showed very good awareness of what was in and around him.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I did expect him to shoot, in all honesty, where he's going through. And
I didn't think he had a great angle. That's why I was actually really pleased he passed it. Because if he didn't pass that, the shout should have been, you see what I mean? He's no good at this level. Or whatever.
He does exactly the same as what Harry Kane does in that situation. He smashes that goal as well. Especially.
Oh, Kane does.
Especially the position we're in, though. Because.
Yeah. But you see, though, do you know, they're not daft, but Southgate mentioned after the game, he referenced, out of everything that happened in that game, he referenced how pleased he was with Wilson for doing that pass. He was like, I love the awareness that he's done on that at that moment. And I thought, they're the moments Southgate will look at. And Wilson would have knew that as well. He could have been greedy and took it. It's 5-1. Would it make any difference? No, of course it wouldn't have. And Rashford's just come on, by the way, and scored now. And you think, shit.
That was a good goal.
I would be if I was Wilson going, fuck, I'm behind him now, technically. So he had a chance to score, but I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful play, personally.
Very mature choice.
Really was.
As you say, just that awareness, just to look up. And it's like when you play FIFA, isn't it? You go through on the keeper, the defenders and the strikers, and you just put it square and it's a little tap in.
It was
obviously it wasn't as easy as that, but
no, I get what you're saying.
I just want to say great from Grealish as well, do that celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the young kid as well,
Yeah.
especially in a World Cup game as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
It's great to see. I know Grealish has came under some stick from Newcastle United fans in recent weeks as well, but
That needs to be put
buried,
by the way.
bury that.
It's had its day. Like
Well, I
Christ
don't know.
almighty.
Like,
It's
Oh,
I'm
come on.
not forgiven that easily.
I
No,
think
it's just-
you don't have to forgive him. Just forget it.
It's every time that he scores, or it's just constantly.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see him play like Almiron today.
I knew that was coming at some point.
Didn't play that well actually.
But overall, it's an absolute fantastic opener. That you couldn't ask for much better.
Yeah, Saka's second goal I thought was excellent. He just got himself into the box, cut in, dummied it back, cut in again. He just had them going left, right, and centre in the box, didn't he? Just a lovely little finish.
Aye. Oh, just amazing, mate. The
Sterling's. Oh,
There was so many good goals, man. The Rashford's, sorry, apologise. Saka's goal, I just took a bit of a deflection, but that was a beautiful finish. Bellingham's was a lovely team move, great header, fantastic header. As you see, those Sterling's, I thought was class.
that was a scandalous
It
finish.
was,
That.
yeah. Again, great football played before. Kane's ball in. Kane's class when he drops deep.
Yeah.
When he drops deep, teams are in trouble because he's got such a.
I did think we struggled a little bit with that because he is good at doing that, but
Amazing.
at Spurs, he's got Son running in and playing behind, where we just struggled with that a little bit for England. We just weren't as quick to get up and get beyond them.
I still think though that's something that if we can use, like if we can get the likes of Sterling or Foden or Saka, whoever it may be, can get up, run beyond Kane. I'm telling you what,
That's what we needed.
It's going to be, because Kane will find you, and he did there. It was a lovely cross, and the finish outside the front as well. It's a beautiful finish, like it really was. I thought there were so many good goals. I mean, the Rashford goal, I know he's only took 3 touches, but the defender, man, goodness gracious me.
2 of them that he rinses. He does it again not long afterwards.
He sends him to the shops. He can't, 2 arms, like it's awful. It looks like he's jumped off a cliff. If you watch it again, it looks like it's just awful. But very cool finish though. Again, the finish was very, very, very cool.
He just tucks that in.
Yeah, he does.
A tight space as
It
well.
was a tight space.
Because I thought from one of the angles it looks like there's a huge area to aim at, but there's not.
There's
really.
not. No, there's not.
There's not.
It was a great
I've got to
finish.
say as well, the Iran goal was a very nice goal as well.
The one
That
Maguire
little pass
switched off,
and
didn't
then
he?
the
Maguire
cracking
came,
little finish
he
as
came
well.
straight off after that, Maguire, and he let him run behind him. And obviously it was a great finish, though, as you say. But then Maguire comes straight off after that. But I thought it was amazing to score 6 goals and Kane doesn't score. I actually think that's a great thing. Because we all know Kane will score or can score. But to score 6 goals and he hasn't scored, I actually thought was mint, to be honest, to come away from that.
To get goal, he's starting a bit down now,
Well,
hasn't he? With Saka banging 2.
Looking at it that way, of course, yes, I agree.
Ecuador got 2 yesterday as well.
But again, Kane wins, Well, then again, it was funny. They went to the studio and they were like, "Oh, would you be annoyed, Alan, if you come off and you haven't scored 6 goals and you haven't scored? I'd be devastated."
I'd be good.
And like I said, the same, and probably Kane will be that. But I think for the team overall, it's actually mint in a way.
Yeah. It's like Newcastle, isn't it? It's great when you're centre forwards getting goals, but if you're scoring goals from all over the pitch, that's much more important.
It is. It really is.
What we're going to do now, we'll go through a couple of questions which have been sent in. If anybody else has any more questions, send them our way and we'll go through them. Mark, say your little line first, though.
Yes. Give the little video a like. Just do it. Hit the little thumbs up button. Give us a like. It helps us out greatly. Gets us appearing on other people's feeds that are watching. People that might not be tuning in, I'll see it. Leave us some comments. I know you're obviously doing that in the live, but if you're watching it on replay, just leave us a little comment. Let us know you're watching it. Let us know what you're thinking.
Well done, Mark.
Nicely done. Mark.
Lovely. Nicely done, son. Nicely done.
Right, let's go through a couple of these questions. So the first one is sent in by Callum Lewis, who is a member of the channel as well.
You're always on it.
You can become a member for $2.99 a month. You get access to the Telegram group. There is a new one up and running, which is, I think this one's busier than the last one.
Give it time.
So yeah, it is quite busy in there. A lot of talk about international football. Still Newcastle United chatting there. So yeah, you get access to that. Become a member too.
I think Callum was watching the match in the future today, because it was literally every time anything happened, Callum was posting straight in there.
Every stream was a different time on iPlayer, and if you're watching through normal TV, if you're watching it through your Sky box, if you're watching through your Virgin, everything's out of sync. It's absolutely mental. So we could not do a live watch along because we'll be about 4 minutes behind everybody.
Well, I think iPlayer was about 2.5 minutes
it was ridiculous.
behind, but then they apologised at half time, saying that there'd been technical issues with it and stuff.
Absolutely ridiculous. So Callum says, I'll come to you, Mark. He says, how will you react when Wilson scores in this World Cup? Not if, it's a when. It's a when there.
It would have been nice, wouldn't it? Like, it'll be fantastic. It's just, like I say, we're buzzing just to see, a couple of players getting on the pitch and playing for the team, let alone, getting a goal. I mean,
I want to Trippier to set him up.
I can still remember Trippier's free kick when he wasn't even playing for us. So, imagine that happening when he's a Newcastle player.
Yeah,
it would be fantastic. Same with Wilson. If he gets another opportunity,
He'll get
to score for England, it'll be brilliant. It just means something more when it's one of your players representing the country.
Oh, absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right.
It feels great. It does. It feels great being interested in a football tournament, in national tournament. Yes, we'll all get involved with that. But then having your club representatives there as well, it just feels different this year.
Well, Aaron came in from school and they'd been watching the game in school. They'd let them come out of lessons and stuff like that. And
we'll stop wheeling Italian these days.
They were watching it in the assembly hall, and he says, "Oh, it was great when Callum Wilson came on." He says everybody just started singing his song, and I was like, "Oh, that's mint." Yeah, there's me at home, like thinking "Oh, class Callum Wilson's on," but you think, looking at that, where you've got a big group of kids like that see them coming on, like somebody that the watch playing for Newcastle week in, week out, and think, God, look at him, he's playing for England, and for them to have that reaction, it's just amazing.
So I was in the kitchen when the sixth goal went in, and obviously Callum Wilson was on the field this time, so I missed the goal itself. But my youngest comes running in, and he's like, Dad, they scored again. Now I'm thinking, I hope it's Wilson. I was going, was it Wilson? He's like, what does he look like? Doesn't look like Jack Grealish, apparently. But yeah, it's just that the buzz that you get from seeing Newcastle United players being on international duty, especially England, is crazy. It really is. Next one.
I always got a real sense of pride of Shearer when he was the captain of England. I really did, it meant a lot. But he told you right.
Next one is from Joseph Brook that says, Mark, I'll start with you once again. Says, what's your opinions on the amount of added time in the game? Seems like there is a lot in this World Cup. So if you just look at the England game itself, the added on time, you had 14 minutes then you had a further 10, I want to say, in the second half. It looks like it's added up correctly.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the Premier League.
It's a lot, well, unless it's a Newcastle game, obviously. Because we are notorious for wasting time.
The only team that does it.
Only team that does it ever in the history of football. Yeah. So that's obviously why we're getting so much injury time is because of Newcastle. We've set that precedence going into the World Cup.
This is what they've done in VR, and the referee and the officials haven't sat them in a room just before the tournament starts. Watch this Newcastle game. This is how you do it. This is how you add time.
When we all know the Qataris don't like the Saudis, so who knows?
Well, Trippier in the second half, Trippier and Wilson both in the pitch. The most it's 5 minutes added on for Trippier, 5 minutes for Wilson. There's your 10. There you go. Let's go with that.
No,
did you really think the 10 minutes in the second half was right?
No,
where the fuck did that come from?
Obviously, you had
that goalkeeper was down for an hour.
You had all the substitutions, so that adds on. But then the other,
hold on.
I know.
So it was 14 minutes for that goalkeeper being down.
He was down a long time.
So the second half, you're telling me that goalkeeper was only down 4 minutes longer than whatever happened in the second half? No way. No way.
Obviously, scored 3 in the first half, scored 3 in the second, then obviously +2. The referee's decision for VAR, maybe.
Yeah, going over and watching that adds a bit of time as well.
I think we can take subs out of that equation.
Because
if you look at Harry Kane, he's like on the touchline, the other side of the field.
Yeah, but that had 30 seconds on for a substitution.
But why?
I think they obviously thought, hold on, we've brought 6 on, so there's 3 minutes. Whereas no, 3 came on it together, so it should just be 30 seconds.
There was never 10 minutes in that second half.
There was 9 minutes added on in the current game, which has just been on there as well. So Wales
USA.
9 minutes added on. I think the first one this afternoon, that was 7 minutes, the Holland game.
That was a diabolical game, that.
Yeah, it was pretty poor.
Awful.
Yeah,
awful.
It was. You can tell that they're missing Marnie,
Yeah, looking at it, I thought, we might be in for a good game here, Senegal and Holland, but
that's on 100 minutes now, that the USA game. Still 1-1, obviously.
It's something which we're going to see a lot, isn't it?
But look, if they have that consistency throughout all of the games of doing it in that way and ensuring everybody that if you have the balls out of the play, you've got injuries of that, it's officiated in exactly the same way throughout, then that's fine. Because it's fair and it's the
I
way
think
they've
I'm going
done
to
it.
keep coming to you for our American sport expert. Yeah,
Mhm.
in American sports, do they just keep the clock running?
And the clock stops immediately.
Stops. That's what
Well,
I'm saying.
yes. If you do a passing play and the pass hits the floor, for example, or go whatever, the clock stops. On a running play, however, the clock will keep going. But what I think what's important to remember though is obviously there's a break and play. It obviously always stops, but that's why the quarter's 15 minutes, but it takes like
It takes
40
ages,
minutes
doesn't it, for a game?
to do that, and that's how you'll always get the right time being played. And that's why, to be fair, this is one of the reasons why I don't like football, in the sense of you can be playing a game and there'll be goal kicks, couple of throw-ins, another goal kick, player goes down injured. Next thing you know, there's 15 minutes of the game gone. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. I always find that sometimes the balls, there isn't actually any football being played. In 90 minutes, you might be looking to get an hour's worth of football.
That's,
do you know what I mean?
That's roughly about what you get.
And that's for me is not great. You know what I mean?
I think that's the thing.
Whereas
like
I don't mind if a game goes for 100 minutes. If there needs to be time added on because these have been wasting it. And even if that's us, by the way, if we are the only people that ever do it, all right, okay, well,
I think if they did what in football, what they do for American football, like when the ball goes out of play, the clock stops. Then it's clear as to how long's
But is this not
gone and how long's left and all
what
that.
the referee does anyway, because every
but
time
you don't see it.
Stops watching, he's always standing like this.
Yeah, but I honestly, I see that happening, and then sometimes at the half time, there's 1 minute and a stop. I'm like, impossible.
Yeah,
there is no way. It takes Pope longer than a minute to take a goal kick, and that's just me criticizing my goalkeeper, but it just does.
So that's how it happens in the American sports.
No.
As soon as it's out of touch,
as soon as
the clock stops.
Yeah,
and then when it comes back in,
snap bang,
it starts again.
So then that basically cuts out any form of time wasting. Really,
that's what they should do because it's clear how long's gone and how long's left. Whereas in soccer, if the ball goes out, yes, it might.
Why go on soccer?
Because we're talking about American football, and football is going to get all confusing.
Whereas
if it goes out for like a throw,
soccer.
I was just trying to think of what to call it.
It's also the worst American angle.
because he's got the ball. Technically, even though it's not in the field of play, the ball's in play because he's going to take it.
Yeah.
But until it crosses the line or restarts, it's
absolutely So, I mean, as I say, it's 4 quarters of 15 minutes, but sometimes the game's going to 2 hours, maybe longer. You know what I mean? It's just,
fucking nightmare for getting the
again. It's just like everything that we've got a complaint around, like officiating, is just that how transparent it is.
Dan Witten's just called you the gated cowboy.
Howdy, Dan.
It was funny though.
But if it were transparent and you could see how long's being added on, when the clocks are stopped and all that, then you wouldn't have as much argument and you wouldn't have as much debate about it. That is what causes all of the issues. Go back to that game yesterday. That goal that got disallowed. Nobody knew what the hell was going on because you didn't see the VAR replays. You didn't see that until like bloody half time, and then the second half
graphic for it.
So but if you could have just which happens every week in VAR, they'll show the replays. You'll see it happening during the game.
Yeah.
We didn't see that in the first game so everybody's thinking, "Hold on, this is the corruption coming through," because you can't see what's happening.
Everyone was banging that drum, right?
It is,
yeah.
But that's because there's a lack of transparency.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I get that decision now. It still doesn't make sense.
24 hours later,
stupid rule that But I understand the rule, but it's stupid.
Yeah. Well, there's one angle which is from
I can see where he's
the opposite side of the pitch,
from the goalkeeper.
And it's his foot is offside.
It's ridiculous rule that though, absolutely ridiculous. Next question. This one is from Dan Witten, who just called you the Gateshead Cowboy. Says, when Brazil play Switzerland, who are you backing, Bruno or Fabian?
Can you back both?
Draw.
Draw high. Nah, Brazil's winning that all day of the week, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. I think I've got a soft spot for Brazil, and if we couldn't win it, then I'd probably want Brazil to win it. So
Brazil are winning it, 100%.
Oh Christ,
it's coming home, man.
Confidence,
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure, but they're very good, but they bottle it a lot. No, I love Brazil, so for me it would definitely be Shea to come through absolutely clean as out, no problems, but need Brazil to win.
I think it's probably more likely that Fabian will play than Bruno.
Yeah. He hasn't quite hit the starting 11 yet.
The suit's lovely.
I think he'll still get a good he'll get a good amount of minutes, I would have thought.
Lovely.
Yeah, he
So-
will. Yeah, they look proper small, the Brazilian squad.
I
with the
wasn't
scarf.
necessarily, the scarf.
Yeah.
I wasn't so sure on that personally. I mean, he looked great. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but the suit itself was something else. Something else. Have you? Oh, doesn't matter. Sorry, yes. You going to say something else?
I'll move on to something else, just in case.
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Honestly, it wasn't.
This is the last one which has been sent in. So if anybody wants to throw a couple of more, we'll do a couple of more. If not, we'll end it after this one. So this one is from El Grande
Only
Salmon.
5 past.
If you want me to keep going, like the
Like
video.
the video. Oh, yeah. Come on.
Like
come
the
on.
video now if you want me to keep going.
So El Grande Salmon says, if Declan Rice is a £100 million player, what price do you put on Bruno?
I have to be. I think Rice is great. Like, I
He
mean,
is a
he was
decent player.
a mint a day, man. He's just like a magnet in that midfield. Obviously, of course, he hasn't got the creativity of Bruno. It's not his role, though, is it? Listen, it's not. He's not saying Rice is a bad player. He's just. I'm not. Yeah. If he's 100 million, what is he then?
What did we pay for Bruno?
40. What?
Less.
Well, it was like 30 odd. Wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
So you're close to treble figures here. Like,
You think he's 120 or something? Around 90?
if we completely forget, I know
He's-
this is,
you know what
this
it-
is your question, El Grande, but I'm ignoring the first half of your question. If you just had to put a price tag on him, completely forget about the fee for Declan Rice. If you all put a price tag on Bruno, you're hitting 100 plus. Easy.
You're not.
You are.
You're
Easy.
not.
I don't
And-
think so.
You don't reckon?
The reason you're not, he's Brazilian. He's not English.
Well,
It's that 100%.
English taxi
If
loves
if
that, doesn't
Dec-
he?
if
Well,
Declan
Hang on a
Rice
second. How much did
isn't English / Irish,
Richarlison went to Tottenham for what was it?
it was a hefty thing?
That was like 60 or 70, wasn't it? Oh no, he's a striker. Like,
what
you
did
know.
what did Liverpool pay for Alisson?
I
Oh,
would
That was a
say
canny fee.
Edison was a canny.
I'd say probably 70, 80. Like
Man, them 2 goalkeepers, I've got it's disgusting. Shouldn't be allowed, don't you know?
I know.
Shouldn't be able to take one of them. Wait, sorry, what are you saying?
70, 80.
Yeah,
reckon.
I think about 70, 80. I do, yeah.
Even though he should be worth
I'm
more than
high on it,
Declan
like-
Rice, but
I'm 100 minimum.
I'd want more than that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think if you
Great
think
soccer player.
if you, I'm a soccer player, if you think of him leaving us, like if he played for us under Ashley, I'd say 60 and he's like, but under this current, I think you are talking 100 actually.
He's
Does
priceless
that
to
make
us at the
sense?
minute.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
That's the
Like-
thing.
Yeah.
Like you cannot replace him for the amount of money that would get in for him.
Bellingham?
He's going to cost more than 100 million, isn't he?
No, he is.
Because he's English.
He's not Brazilian.
English tax again.
Plus Newcastle tax as well.
Newcastle
Even
tax.
more.
Get that Newcastle tax.
Add that in as well.
Imagine being an England
100
tax
100
and Newcastle tax.
130 million.
yeah.
130 million for him.
Um,
But it is. It's
Let's not talk.
100%. Like if you were an English player going in there, your fee's much higher than somebody else coming from either another country or moving from another league.
100 million.
I'd
Brass-
love to have Rice and Bruno in the same team.
There's
Like.
stuff of food when you
Imagine.
said that.
Yeah, honestly, mate, it's like
Just let Rice sit there in the 6,
doesn't
push
get any
Bruno
better.
up.
Doesn't get any better. Telling you now, if you
Simmer in the pan.
Sexual lad.
sexual chocolate.
And that's why I keep banging on
could we-
about.
Could we sign him? Could we sign Rice then? Do you reckon? Chelsea
Yeah.
boy, he's a Chelsea boy.
Way that's the.
So no, so hang on. So I see. So he's playing for West Ham now, right? Who this season are struggling, right?
It's a
They are.
very good question, Digger.
They are struggling now. So if he was going to move, he'd want someone that's in the Champions League. 'Cause that's where he
step up,
wants
yeah.
to play,
Next
right?
rung up the ladder.
Obviously, the problem is he's a London boy, right? He loves Chelsea. You know what I mean? I think he'd want to stay down there. But if he come up and leave, do you even think would be in the hat? Like to try and
Not this summer.
No.
Unless
Well, if we had that attitude,
Unless we
wouldn't have
finish-
signed Trippier. Wouldn't have
unless
signed
we
Bruno.
finish. Yeah, but
Wouldn't have signed Isaac. If we had that
Opposite-
attitude of next year, 2 years time.
I still
English talk.
couldn't. I'm still sat here, unable to believe that we've got Bruno.
No, but I know, but
But-
that's what I'm saying. So, but if we
We
had
have.
that, exactly. So if we had
But
that mindset,
that's the draw of coming to play in the Premier League. Whereas you've already got a player that's established playing in the Premier League. He's an England regular. If he wants to make that
I get
step,
it.
I agree that things aren't working out great at West Ham at the minute. So should somebody want to come in and look at him, his head's going to be turned.
He's their poster boy as well, isn't he?
But it's again, it's got to be one of the
100
big
million,
boys
like,
that can
It's a lot
offer
of money, isn't it?
them.
It's a lot of money, like. So who do you think would be in the ring then? In the Hatton? Obviously Chelsea. I think
Chelsea,
just 'cause of
Arsenal.
Arsenal. I only think Man City. Me. I only think there's only
City.
that can afford him. I don't think Arsenal could afford him. I think there's 3 teams that could, and it's why we're one of them. We are one of them. Sorry, that could afford him. I really do.
It's not money is not the issue for any of these players that we're talking about signing.
Isn't it lovely to
It's-
say that? No
Which
issue
is
there.
as mental as that sounds.
Just buy 2 of you.
Obviously, we've got to.
Any
We've got,
brothers?
We'll just buy West Ham just so we're not right. Let's just say the rest.
there's a few players I wouldn't mind from there. Like
God, need.
you've got to temper that. Obviously, the fact with the financial fair play stuff and that kind of thing. Yes, you've got. Well, I'm saying money's not an object. There is sort of, but
At the moment, it is.
it's the
Get
other
around
things
that.
around it. Around
Monster's given him $1 billion again, apparently, so that's fine. No problems there. Man.
near we are. They're giving anywhere near that.
No, I'm joking. No, seriously though, it would be very, very hard, I think, to get right. But
That's what I'm saying.
I just
two
feel-
years.
I just feel why wouldn't you want to play for us at this moment in time, in the trajectory that we're on, and the ambition that we've got, the money that they know we've got? Why would you not want to play here? Now, the only reason I might say that with Rice is because he's a London boy, loves Chelsea, and if them came in, let's be fair, right? He'd probably go there. But I don't know. Like I just feel like we could get these players. Bellingham, he's 19-year-old. Sell him the 10-year dream and go, listen, you're going to be the greatest man if you come here.
It's just that it's the here and now. That is the issue. Is that we haven't cemented our place at the. We nearly got relegated. We were in a long period of last season in a relegation battle. It wasn't until obviously after we're running stuff like that.
I think players looking at Newcastle United now, they won't even take that into account that last season and the were in a relegation battle up until this point, because that is a completely different club.
It is.
And that's why I'm just saying I think
it's like signing Shearer, man. There was a trajectory of like, you're not there now, but you will get there.
Oh, we've been
Well,
there.
I
We've been
get
there
that,
for 2 years, hadn't we? And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We've got to cement.
We've
If we can cement the position where we're sitting now,
So
then we can start.
Should we be
thinking
going
about
for
that.
him though? So if we finish, you don't think we're going to finish in the top 4, do you? Well, okay then. So let's say we do, and West Ham finish 8th or wherever they're going to finish, right?
Chelsea don't come knocking.
And there's rumours that he's going to leave. Do we go? Here you go, mate.
Oh, we will.
And do you think we will?
But I don't think we'd make the final cut.
Negative.
And I think it'll just
Negative,
it would come down to
English tax.
no, because we'll pay that.
Soccer.
It'll come down to his soccer ability. No, it'll come down to the fact that we've only just finished there. We need that to solidify that and get a couple of seasons of European football and stuff
So
like
we'll flip
that.
it around. If it's a choice of either staying at West Ham or moving to Newcastle for a improved deal and a higher chance of Champions League football, what does he do then?
It's a test of loyalty, that, isn't it?
I think you leave West Ham, like I really do. Because Liverpool will be out the equation anyway because of Bellingham. If they haven't got him, you would imagine that. I don't know if they have 100 million to buy. Well,
I don't think
they can't buy both of them, can they?
Do City
It'd be
need him?
Man City.
Probably not. Obviously, they bought Phillips. He hasn't played a lot because of his injuries and stuff like that. They've got Rodri that plays in there as well. So
yeah.
It's unlikely
There's not many left, is there?
that he'd go there. So that's why I'm thinking Arsenal. I take your point around the money, but
Them haven't got.
could they break the bank to do it? Possibly. Chelsea.
That's the one because he's a Chelsea fan as well. That's the
But
one.
it's obviously like he's spoken about the way that he was let go at Chelsea and that there's a bit of a bad feeling there.
Well, we'll have
That's that loyalty around West Ham, around the fact that they took him in when he was a kid and had been released by Chelsea and let him come through and develop.
But I think
captain of the team.
but if he left them,
now,
I don't think any fan would have a. I mean, they would be unhappy, but they wouldn't blame him. He's done a hell of a lot at West Ham. Hell of a lot. He's given a lot back.
If they continue to struggle down there, and even let's say he stays in the summer and it continues again the start of next season, then that's when he might start getting itchy feet.
It's simple having this conversation.
Couldn't get Chowdhury on loan a couple of years back.
Nah.
No, I'm saying 100 million English tax and everything. Get him.
Right, we'll end on this one. I'm sure there's been another one sent in. Yes, this is
Man
another one.
United. Man United actually could be in.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I do.
Another one that says, would you prefer top 4 finish this season for Champions League to attract players like Bellingham, right? Or would you prefer a League Cup / FA Cup trophy?
Trophy.
Trophy all day long.
100%.
100%.
The players can't wait. Get the trophies now, man.
Yeah, I think
Trophies will attract players.
It gets you European football anyway. Yes, it doesn't get you Champions League.
I just think it's a huge thing off your back, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a huge tick in the
But-
box as well.
yeah,
We
it is.
That
spoke
one's
about
done.
this last week, and we haven't won a cup since the 60s.
I'm a great believer.
I didn't think we'd win one in my lifetime the way things were going.
I won the championship. I still say that doesn't get.
Yeah.
I still say that doesn't get looked at kindly for some reason.
I don't think it gets enough credit.
it really doesn't. Like, but anyway, I get the
I'm just good at we've never won a pizza trophy.
Yeah, true. But I think if you win a trophy, I always say that breeds. Do you know what I mean? That winning
Yeah, yeah.
mentality, and I'm always been huge on that. And I think if we could win, even if it was the Carabao Cup or something, it doesn't matter. It would be amazing. Like, and I think, yeah, because I actually think, you know, you don't want to sound too stupid, like even though I've just said we'll buy rice, but like, I feel the top 4 eventually would come eventually. Like at some point
Yeah.
down the line, it'll happen. Whereas winning a trophy, it's not easy to
Trajectory
do.
that will go on, you would expect top
Yeah,
4 in the next handful of years.
Yeah, you would like to think so, and obviously, but then you could ask, well, Man United have been in the last 5 years, but Man United struggle to get there. Them have been spending $1 billion. You know what I mean? Them can't get there. So there is clubs around where want to do that and spend to do that, but still can't do it. So you would like, but hopefully we will be in the next 5 years. Whereas a trophy, I still think it's really hard to win a trophy. It's really hard to win a trophy, man. It really is. So if you get the opportunity on a plate like that, you take the trophy for me.
Scott has actually came in with an absolute blinder here. Which
Who?
yeah, he says, never won a trophy, but winning a cup will have a domino effect.
As in winning more. Is that?
I think it's
Aye.
like
I was saying Domino's Pizzas, to be honest.
no,
When I
that's,
said
what,
Domino's.
that's
Yeah.
a play on words.
It's Papa John's.
Oh yeah.
Straight over your
Yeah.
head, that. Jesus.
That was well. I did think of food though, so give us that credit. It was the first
You
thing I
always think
thought
of
of.
food?
Always. Don't ever think about. The amount of times I've said rice, I want to go to the Chinese. I'm looking at that. Honestly, I do.
Oh, you keep going on about buying rice. Danny Rice will be getting his egg fried rice.
That's all I've been thinking. I was thinking egg fried rice, pilo rice.
Right, we're going to call it a night. Thanks, everybody
Monday.
who has been watching Monday night. Yes, it is Monday night. Thanks, everybody that has tuned in.
Like the video if you haven't done, please. Go on, do it. Thanks. Love you.
Yes, he's lying, lad.
No, didn't even have a problem this time.
Just-
Didn't have a
yeah.
problem.
Nah.
Sorry, Deck. Apparently, it was me. That got that wrong. I didn't say the word pizza trophy. Sorry, everybody.
You did. Mark said that, didn't
Oh, we're talking about pizza trophies.
he? Mark said
Yeah,
pizza
but
trophy. That's okay.
It's
That's
got
okay.
every.
That's okay.
Sorry, everybody.
We'll
Sorry,
forgive you.
Sorry to disappoint you all.
Just
Thanks
normal,
everybody
that,
who
isn't it?
has tuned
It's always
in
the other guy.
tonight. And thanks everybody who is listening back to the audio. Like I said at the very start of this one, there is another episode being recorded earlier this evening that was recorded, which just gives a breakdown of Newcastle United players' performances in that England versus Iran game. And that will be going out as members first of all.
It'd be nice to get something else on audio as well, because we know what were trending in the charts last week. The audio charts last week.
Oh, right, okay. Yes, that one over my head there. Jesus. Yeah, so
We haven't released a single.
I know what I was thinking. What
Do
I'm
that right
we
now.
haven't got a record out this week.
what we call it? Soccer.
Gator Cowboy.
That's his name. Gator Cowboy, soccer ice. That's what we'll call it. English tax. Thanks everybody. Like Mark said, just go and listen to the audio as well. It helps us out massively. We were 23rd in the UK charts, I believe.
Shola.
That's ridiculous. That.
23rd. For that was just audio only in the Apple UK podcast charts for soccer. That is
Soccer.
actually
It is soccer.
tagline
Soccer's
that
the
you gotta put in.
subject.
Soccer.
Soccer. Thanks very much, everybody. Been a pleasure as always. We'll see you next time. We'll be back Monday night to talk more Newcastle United and England as well. Take care, and we'll see you later.
Take care, y'all.